Hey guys, it's Drew again. Part of collecting in our experience is not only gathering the cards or autographs or memorabilia or whatever it is we're into, it's also collecting the stories. And these stories are what makes our collecting experience so much more rich and deep. And in my opinion, it's not just the experiences, but it's mainly the people that become friends of ours, the people that we grow relationships with. It's why we do this on YouTube, is to grow the relationships. I want to start a series of friends within the hobby, people that I've met, people that I know, people that have relationships with. And I want to start with one of my best friends in the entire world, and in fact, he's a friend of mine who's been a friend longer than anybody else that I've known outside of my family. So let's check it out. I want to start off by apologizing. This is not going to be a video that's super exciting for a lot of people. It's just me telling stories, a lot of memories about me and my buddy. And but this is more for him. It's just something we can go back and look at and just kind of document some of the things we've done. But his name is Sean, and Sean and I went to school together started in 1991. And Sean is from Minnesota. That's where he currently lives, and I still live in Georgia. But Sean's a big Twins fan, and if you remember, you know your baseball history, 1991, especially the fall of 91, it was the year of the worst to first. In 1990, both the Minnesota Twins and the Atlanta Braves were the worst team in their leagues. The next year, they both went to first place. They both ended up winning their league and going and facing each other in the World Series. And this was the first time that the Atlanta Braves had done anything as a team. You know, they had Dale Murphy back in the 80s, but other than that, they were pretty terrible. I had gone to games before that, and there was nobody there. But in '91, it was different. You know, the whole chop thing came out or whatever, and Sean was a big Twins fan. Grew up as a Twins fan, and I remember distinctly there was a World Series game. I don't remember which one, but they had this huge TV, like one of those old projection TVs, and they put it in a lobby of one of the dorms, and dozens of people were around watching this game, of course, and there's all these brand new Braves fans that were there, and they were all into it and whatever, and they're all gathered around. I'll never forget this picture, but we're all like standing or sitting on couches or whatever, watching this game and cheering or whatever, and there's Sean, the only Twins fan, or maybe there was one other guy who was a Twins fan, and Sean had the little Homer hanky, and if you know what a Homer hanky is, you can kind of see it here, and but Sean had one, and he was so proud of that thing, and I remember him sitting up front with this semicircle of people around, and he had his Homer hanky, and he was just quiet. He's a very quiet, reserved kind of guy. He was just rooting so hard. I knew in his brain he was screaming for the Twins to win, and if the Twins did something, he'd wave his little hanky, and if the Braves did something, there was a eruption. It was just so funny watching it back then, and not picking on him at all, but it was just the contrast that he stood there, his little a team of one amongst dozens of others, and it was just a good time, good fun stuff. But Sean and I collected cards together. We bought packs, we traded, we were trying to build sets. Some of those great first insert sets back in the early '90s, especially Upper Deck. We love Upper Deck stuff, and really got into it. And he, of course, was a big Kirby Puckett fan, and I was a big Ken Griffey Jr. fan. And after college, he moved back to Minnesota, and Kirby Puckett stuff was so expensive up there, but I could find it where I am fairly really cheap. So I would find it in shops or find people to trade with, and then I would send stuff to him, and he would send stuff to me, and it became this yearly tradition where we would send each other our birthdays are about a month apart, and we would send each other a birthday gift. And I got some of the birthday gifts he sent me of some of the Griffies, and I pulled these out of my Griffey case, and I keep all three of these cards right in the front. And if go back and watch my old video on my monster case, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But the first one I remember him sending was from 1994, and it's a parallel set from Pinnacle, and it's called the Museum Collection. And any Griffey stuff was super expensive compared to anything else. And I just love this card. So much about the Griffey, the hat on backwards, the sunglasses on the hat. It's funny, he's got, the slides down there, and then that starburst coming out of it, the museum collection. And Sean picked that up for me, and he sent it to me one year for my birthday. So I still have that and cherish it. And then another one that he had sent me was, again, that came out in 1994, I believe. Maybe it was 95. But it was a parallel from the Leaf set. And it was the gold version of the Leaf Limited, and he loved these Leaf Limited cards, and it's serial numbered. And back then, serial numbered out of only 10,000. I know that seems crazy if you weren't collecting back then, but that was huge that you could get one. And the fact that he found a Griffey and he sent that to me, and I still love this card too. And then the last one I want to show you, I don't know the year, but it was I'm trying not to see it here. But anyway, it was from the 50th Leaf Anniversary Curtain Calls Fractal Foundation. Wow, that's a lot. Griffey, and it was a reprint or recopy of the 1990 Leaf Griffey. And again, this one is serial numbered, but actually out of only $39.99. And Sean sent me all three of these cards as gifts. And I would send him Kirby Puckets that I could find. I'm pretty sure that I had found the Puckett out of this one. I think I actually pulled it out of a pack and the museum collection. But I love these cards. The value is not super high, but they are to me. Just great cards and great times. One of the things that I remember was in 1999, I had taken probably about a 4 or 5 year hiatus of collecting anything. And while I love baseball, I didn't collect much. And I had gone through my collection. It was all in a bunch of boxes in a closet. And what I had found was in 1993, I had bought tons and tons of cards from the set that I really thought was cool. It was probably the last set I bought a lot of packs from. And I had put together the 93 SP set. And I still have the set. And I just thought these pictures were great, both on the fronts and the backs. And of course, most people know it from the foil cards, the rookie cards in the back with the Jeter, of course. And of course I had the Jeter. The Jeter's not in this binder. In fact, here's my Jeter that I had pulled out of my box, and I've got it on display. So there's my 93 SP. But the story about this and where it has to do with Sean was in 1999, I was trying to clear out. I had tens of thousands of commons from all these packs that I had busted, a decade earlier, almost a decade. And I was going through them, and I was just going to sell them at a yard sale. And I wanted to, I was pulling out, stars and stuff to separate. And I came across all of my doubles in 93 SP. And I thought, at that point now, Derek Jeter was Derek Jeter. Well, in 93, he was just some skinny high school kid, and he was just another guy. I didn't realize or think about the fact that Derek Jeter's rookie card was from the set. And I was going through all my doubles of non-stars, and sure enough, I found 5 doubles of my 93 SP Derek Jeter. I was so excited because I knew exactly what I was going to do with this card. And I took them and I went down to a card show down near Atlanta. It was kind of sketchy or whatever, but I had these 5 Derek Jeter rookies, and I was looking to trade because it was a card I wanted to get, and it was really hard to find. I wasn't on eBay yet, so you only had, the options of finding things right there. And what I did was I looked around and I found this card, and I traded a 93 SP Derek Jeter for this card. Now, this is my version of it, and I traded for it, and I gifted it to Sean. And it is a 1994 Fleer Update Kirby Puckett card. Now, this specific card is his big rookie, and my wife had actually given me this card years later. But I remember trading this, the Derek Jeter for this card. I was thrilled. I could not believe it. And while the value, of course, have changed and the Jeters are worth so much more, I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I love that card. I'm glad I have a copy, and I'm so glad I was able to get a copy for Sean. But some of the other stories with Sean was in 2011. It was my 40th birthday, and my wife had planned a trip for me and Sean to come, and another friend, Alan, who I had done videos with a while back, and we went on this road trip. And we went up to Baltimore, and it's one of the reasons you can see I've got this ball up here, got this on this trip. It's just a souvenir baseball. But we did the stadium tour. If you go back and watch the video of me collecting dirt, that story is there. Or we also went to the National Stadium, and we got to see a game there. This was in 2011. It was right at the end of the season. And if you guys know your baseball history again, 2011 had one of the craziest endings, and it was the last series. And in fact, both games that we went to, the one in Baltimore and then the next day the one in Washington, both of those games had an impact on the postseason for 2011. 2011 ended up going on to where the Cardinals had their huge comeback, and David Freese with the whole Game 6 thing in the World Series. just an amazing thing, and we were kind of part of that in watching the Red Sox actually get eliminated by the Orioles, and then the Braves getting eliminated by the Nationals. So that was a good time, and my buddy Sean right there. And then in one of the things that Sean and I had did was me being a big Griffey fan and him being a big Puckett fan. We both figured that these guys were bound for the Hall of Fame. And we were right, they both were. And we figured about how long their career would be, and we figured about how, when they would do. And we decided that way back in the early 90s, no matter where we were, no matter what we were doing, we were going to get together, we were going to go to the Hall of Fame in 2015, because that's when we figured both of them would be inducted. We didn't know two different things. First of all, unfortunately, Kirby Puckett retired much younger due to glaucoma, and then unfortunately he ended up passing away before 2015, which was heart-wrenching for Sean, and my heart broke for him because that was his hero. And of course, the other thing we didn't know was Griffey tried to play one more year, played about a month, and then retired, which bumped his retirement back, which meant his Hall of Fame induction back by a year. So in 2016, Sean and I got back together and went on a baseball road trip, went up to Cooperstown, which is where this ball came from, another souvenir ball from the Hall of Fame. And I'm only showing it not because it's got any value, but it's got just huge story for me being there with Sean. And then some other friends as well. And we just had a great time. I mean, walking around and looking at all this stuff. And I remember in the Hall of Fame, there was this one case, and it had like different things that were, things that fans use. It had like the rally monkey from the California Angels in 2002, and there was also a Homer hanky there, and it was just great. It was kind of like the final thing coming back. So Sean and I still are friends. We don't get to see each other very often. Just our lives are so distant and different, but we still text. I know he watches a lot of my videos. He'll comment. And I just want to say thank you to Sean for 30 plus years of great friendship, of great memories, going through some really hard stuff in life and some highs. Starting back with that Homer hanky back in the Braves with that famous series with Kent Canaibaria, Val Herbeck pulling Ron Gann off the bag illegally. Still one of the things that we disagree about. It was a dirty play. But Sean, I love you, man. I hope you enjoyed this video. For all you other guys who stuck it out, I appreciate you coming along with the journey. Again, this isn't a video that's going to get tons of views. It's okay. I don't care. It's just for fun. So, Sean, I love you. I can't wait to see you again. And guys, go out there, make your connections, get together with some friends, make some stories together, trade, find stuff, get in there, get in the community, and just have a great time doing it. So I'm going to continue doing the series with other friends in the hobby. But until next time, you be good.